Welcome to the summer edition of the Sprint to Success with Design Thinking podcast.
How do you navigate change? It's a question we think about often, and one that today's world expects us to be comfortable with. The challenge, however, is where do you begin, and how do you develop the mindset and skill set to be successful? Welcome, everyone, to the Sprint to Success with Design Thinking podcast. I'm your host, Saba Kidwai. Join me each week as I share the stories and strategies from the world's leading researchers and practitioners about why they believe the answer lies in practicing design thinking.
Everybody believes we need to change. Everybody believes we can do things better. And I think a lot of the talk track as well is around still the why. And I think one of the things that I've really made a more purposeful effort on is going into the how. Even in my dissertation work, yes, I outline the how. I pull in the research. I pull in what people are saying about the things we need to do. But here's a really tangible way to actually be able to get there. And it's one of the things that I really love about design thinking in general, or just those practices, is there are so many frameworks that can help you take step one. Whether it's, okay, we're getting together to collaborate for the first time. A lot of times people will just put people in a room together, or now on a Zoom meeting, and be like, okay, we're just going to work on this project together. But collaboration requires trust. It requires vulnerability if we're really going to get to the things that at the heart of what we were actually trying to do, so that we don't have the conflicts down the line and whatnot. And so I think being able to now help people dive into those frameworks in a more deeper way because they're ready for it is kind of where I've been at. And you would think that in an online space that's so difficult, but I've got to sort of just share one tool here that I think has been such a game changer in my practice, and I know for so many others, and that's Mural. And Mural is basically a digital whiteboard. And what I love about them is they actually have all the frameworks embedded within there. So you can literally open up Mural, click on a framework, and begin having that conversation with your team today if you wanted to. And they have an incredibly robust community of support as well for okay, here are strategies to try, here are things to do. And so that's been a really big one, getting people to shift the way they work, getting people to think more purposefully about teamwork, about collaboration, about all these things they want to do. Let's start breaking them down with actual tangible frameworks and strategies.
Oh my gosh, I love that. And I feel like communication, even when I worked prior at news stations and our whole job was communicating the news and things to other people. And we struggled within internally, right? That communication, we're just how are we in the communication business? Yet we don't know how to communicate with each other within. So I think that's huge. And so thinking of, and I'm straying away from the list of questions I have because this has brought me another question. So thinking of, okay, you've got teams of people, right? And we're trying to plan right now for 2021. So what are your biggest tips for marketers, for planners, for just making sure we're all on the same page and we continue to do that throughout the year? Because I feel like a lot of different companies will have big meetings, and they're yeah, we're going to do this and do that, but then there's no follow-up. There's no this, and big ideas get lost somehow. So what are your biggest tips for that right now? As everyone's okay, we're wrapping up, the year, and we're trying to really thrive and get things together for 2021.
Yeah, absolutely. I have two frameworks that I really love for that particular conversation. And one of them comes from, it's actually a husband and wife couple, and they call it the all-in method. And I can send you the links. I don't have it on me right now, but it's called the all-in method. And they have a book they just published a while ago called Radical Alignment, How to Have Game-Changing Conversations. It is a 4-box framework. And what it does is it tells you to sort of come to the table. And so, for example, our prompt might be, moving into 2021, this is what our focus is going to be. This is what our priority is going to be. What are your intentions? What are your boundaries? What are your concerns? And what are your dreams? And what I love about that is right away out on the table, we get to have people talking about, okay, these are the things I'm really scared of, but these are the things that I'm really excited by. And that's where that concept of, cultures of innovation begin with a culture of empathy really comes from. Because if we don't understand what our people are scared of, but also what they're motivated by, it's really hard to design culture and conversations that then support goals. And so I love it's such an easy 4-box framework that you can just, everybody sits around a table, you all fill it out, you all kind of share one by one. And it really allows people to see, wow, we're all dreaming about this, but these are the boundaries we want to set. These are some of our concerns. Let's address those. And let's get rid of that fear, because when we say the things that scare us out loud, we don't give them as much power anymore. We've all experienced that, whether it's personal, professional, doesn't matter. You say what you're thinking out loud and it's like, oh, that really wasn't as big of a deal. And that gives you now an opportunity to sort of, I guess, come together in agreement and then decide how you want to move forward. So that's like one of my favorite like methods. Mural actually has another one called the culture canvas, which is about more like if you're sort of like maybe starting maybe a little bit more like what are our values, what's our purpose, how do we define success, how do we define failure? And just by giving those things definition, again, we're building that alignment and understanding of how we each are thinking about something. Because it could be so different, right? We throw out words all the time, but those words mean such different things to all of us that having that alignment is really critical.
It's your turn to join the conversation by sharing what you enjoyed or what questions you still have. In a world where time and attention are so valuable, thank you for choosing to listen and for being a part of our Sprint to Success with Design Thinking community.